So I told you I was going to try to rein it in, and you can see how well that worked out for me. But I'm going to do better this go around. So this is part two of Sylvia Plath's Daddy. On stanza two, there, 30 years she's lived trapped inside this memory of this man, but she can only free herself if she kills him. Okay, which is kind of hard to do because her real father was already dead at this point. He died when she was 8. He had really bad diabetes, and had poor circulation, which is a common complication of severe diabetes. It causes big toe to turn black, and develop gangrene, and then he eventually had to have his entire leg amputated, and he never really recovered from that. And so at the time, Plath said that she would never speak to God again. And I really feel like that's very interesting. So it's another reference to the fact that her daddy is really dead. She's living inside of his shadow, and has for 30 years since he passed away. So, she says, Daddy, I've had to kill you. You died before I had time. Here we go. Another set of metaphors. Marble heavy, a bag full of God, ghastly statue with one gray toe, big as a Frisco silt, so the San Francisco Bay, the seals that hang out there at if you've ever been to the harbor, um, there, the piers, you can see all the big giant gray seals, and that's what she's talking about. So, um, that whole idea of I have had to kill you, is kind of gives us the assertion that she's already murdered her father figuratively, um, and or has to do that in order to recover, in order to set herself free. A bag full of God. Your guess is as good as mine. He's in a body bag. His body is just a bag. She treated him with that God complex. So that's what that is. And so then the ghastly image of that toe, that gray toe. Statue three. Stanza three. And ahead in the freakish Atlantic where it pours bean green over blue and the waters of beautiful Nauset, I used to pray to recover you. Oh, dear, she says. So this man is kind of growing and spreading across the United States. So over here in San Francisco, we have his feet, and his head is in the Atlantic, actually on the coast at Nauset Beach, Cape Cod, which is where she used to holiday when she was a child. And so he literally stretches across the United States. He's a giant shadow across the United States, and it's temporarily pretty, right? The beautiful Nauset pours bean green over blue. We got a little bit of pretty imagery there. And then the speaker says she used to pray to get her father back. I used to pray to recover you. Achdu is German for OU there. She used to pray, but she doesn't talk to God anymore. In the German tongue, in the Polish town, scraped flat by the roller of wars, wars, wars. But the name of the town is common. My Polak friend says there's a dozen or two. So I could never tell where you put your foot, your root. I could never talk to you, the tongue stuck in my jaw. So here we are, Poland, World War II. Her dad was born in Grabau, Poland, but it had been ransacked and scraped flat by war, over the idea. And ironically, Germany taking over Poland, right? And they invaded Poland. They are also known as the fatherland, Daddy, right? And so it literally had demolished the lives of the towns and all of the in the Polish city. And there in stanza five, you have that direct address to you. I could never tell where you put your foot, your root. I could never talk to you. And again, we have that ooh ooh sound, right? to you brings back that train sound, that constant rolling, gaining momentum again. I could never talk to you. That's the child in her, right? She was not able to communicate. Maybe a barrier language, language. I'm sorry, a language barrier. Maybe he spoke in German, and she wasn't, it wasn't strong enough in German to carry on a conversation with him, or regardless, it was very unstable, their relationship there. Okay. So in stanza six, it gets a little more complicated. It ratchets up the tension. It stuck, her tongue that she couldn't talk to him with, stuck in a barbed wire snare. Ich. I could hardly speak. I thought every German was you in the language obscene. It's so her father shouting it. Is it, you know, is she feeling as if her self worth is in question? I'm not really sure there, but she's unable to speak. She's unable. She could hardly speak, and she saw him in every German that she saw. An engine shoving me off like a Jew to Dachau, Auschwitz, Belsen. I began to talk like a Jew. I think I may well be a Jew. So Dachau, Auschwitz, and Belsen were killing camps, primary killing camps. Berger Belsen is actually where Anne Frank died of typhus, one of the two. But those were prominent killing camps there. And so that train, that hint at the train and the engine taking the death train that took Jews to the concentration camps where they were murdered, gassed, cremated during the war. And so she's identifying there with the Jews, but she also identifies with her mother. In stanza 8, the snows of the Tyrol, the clear beer of Vienna. This is mountain Vienna city in Austria. Her gypsy ancestress and her weird look and her tarot cards. Tarot, I guess I should say. I may be a bit of a Jew, so she, that warring factors of German and Jew, like which one are we? In nine, her dad was not really a Nazi, I guess, in real life. You could say he aligned himself with the Jews. He was actually a school teacher, which we're going to see in just a little bit. But it focuses again there on World War II. I almost said WW. World War II, part nonsense nursery rhyme, part dark lyrical attack. She's talking about the Aryan, the concept of the Aryan. So she says, I have always been scared of you with your Luftwaffe, which is the German Air Force, your gobbledygoo, which is gobbledygook, which is when you're using too many technical terms. Anyway, so, but the Aryan, that's where I'm getting by your neat mustache and your Aryan eye, bright blue. So Hitler was, first of all, himself part German, part Jew. I'm sorry, not part German, all German, part Jew. It said that his mother's father was a Jew, and so that was a big secret that he wanted to hide. And so, but his idea of perfection, of the perfect German, was what was called the Aryan race: blonde hair, blue eyes. And that's where that comes from. And they aim to breed out all the unwanted genetic strains to produce this perfect Aryan German man. And so Panzerman OU, was the name for the tanks, the Panzer tanks. Not God, but a swastika, so black no sky could sweep through. Every woman adores a fascist, the boot in the face, the brute heart of a brute like you. I always get the hiccups. Here we go again. Father is swastika. Father is fascist. The swastika was an ancient Indian symbol that was used by the Nazis, and so in this instance, it's so large that no sky can it blacks out the entire sky. So this could be a reference to the air raids during by the Luftwaffe, where they bombed all the cities in England and turned the skies black. Honestly, the concept of the boot in the face, the brute heart of a brute like you, the concept of is that women are, attracted to that kind of man and his, and they end up becoming victims. And so this is where we stand with her as well. You send a blackboard daddy. In the picture I have of you, a cleft in your chin instead of your foot, but no less a devil for that, no, not unless the black man who bit my pretty red heart in two. So this is a very personal stanza. Um, Daddy in the classroom, the devil is supposed to have a cleft foot. That's supposed to be like a club foot, like he's part beast. Um, or hooved foot, I guess I'm not club foot, a hooved foot. But he has a cleft chin. Her dad had a cleft in his chin. She's not fooled by that man in the classroom. But he bit her pretty red heart in two. This man tore her heart apart, reached inside, and left her a divided self. Um, you know, it filled her up with rage. She was angry with God. She was angry with herself and with him and her mother. Just angry at the world. And so, at 20, I tried to die and get back to you. I thought even bones would do. That's when she attempted suicide for the first time at age 20. Was she wanting to reunite with her father there? I'm not really sure, but that seems to feel, and if you read the bell jar, you'll feel that as well. But they pulled me out of the sack. The doctors put her back together, right? They stuck her back together with glue, and then she knew what to do, right? She made a model of you, a man in black with a Mein Kampf look. So Mein Kampf is uh, the autobiography of Hitler, which means my struggle. And so the model, they put her back together. She knew what to do. She just found herself um a look-alike, right? A look-alike um, of her dad, act alike too. This is going to be Ted Hughes. They were married in that next stanza, in the love of the rack and the screw. And I said, I do, I do. So, Daddy, I'm finally through. The black telephone's off the route. The voices just can't worm through. So she's this is the last time that she's going to address like a direct address for Daddy there. And so we have, there's no going to be no more communication, right? She's cutting him off at the root. The black telephone's off at the root, and the voices just cannot get through to her. Black telephone, yet another nice metaphor for him. All right, so in stanza 15 and 16, really, we have the ending of this story. So if I've killed one man, I've killed two. The vampire who said he was you and drank my blood for a year, 7 years. If you want to know, Daddy, you can lie back now. So she refers to killing both of them. Father and husband have both been dispatched. So she refers to Ted as a vampire who's been drinking her blood for 7 years. And it's kind of almost as she's reassuring her father that, all's well now. I'm done with him. I've cut him off. You can lie back and rest, I guess. It's strange. Okay, there's a stake in your fat black cart, and the villagers never liked you. They're dancing and stamping on you. They always knew it was you, Daddy, Daddy, you bastard. I'm through. So, pierce of the wooden stake, just like a vampire. The villagers are happy about it, jumping on up and down on his grave, dancing and stomping on him. And then she declares her daddy a bastard, and that is the penultimate end to the exorcism that she has undergone. The conflict is over. It's resolved. And it's cathartic. Like she's gone through this process of exercising him from her life. A lot to unpack. I know it was a lot to take in. Interesting. I've always found this poem very interesting, very sad life of Sylvia Plath. So yeah,